When the HOA sucked dry my family's generation-old natural spring, saying it was creating flood hazards, their actions spawned no idea at all that they were unleashing nature's wrath. Their spotless lawns, transformed into marshes, their expensive kitchens, eaten away by the same waters they attempted to control. This is when I found a tangle of corruption greater than everybody had ever realized. "Don't take your spring away from you," Emily exclaimed, thumping the HOA letter onto our kitchen table. My fingers trembled as I read through the edict that ruined our serene existence. The spring, a lifeline stream running through our land for more than 100 years, had been branded a flood hazard by the Ridgeview Heights HOA. Eleanor Price, the new HOA president, had set her sights on the spring since the day she'd moved in 6 months earlier. On her first stroll around the neighborhood, she laughed. "That swampy spot drags down our property values," totally unaware of how it nourished native wildlife and kept our block cool during the hot summers. The notice instructed me to close it down within 30 days or be fined $500 a day. My stomach nodded. This was more than a patch of water. It was my grandfather's legacy on the earth. The stone pathways he set, the towering willows he planted, the very ground where I learned to skip stones when I was 5 years old. 2 days passed before I went into the emergency HOA meeting, equipped with seasonal photos of the spring and a petition signed by a dozen neighbors who loved it. Eleanor sat at the head, queen on throne, surrounded by her loyal board. Clara, my next-door neighbor who borrowed flour from us one time, now sat silently next to Eleanor, refusing to look me in the eye. "This spring puts our community's foundation in jeopardy," Eleanor declared, tossing a thick geological survey report onto the table. "Flooding might cost us millions." I rose, nervous but resolute. Spring was here long before these houses. There's never been a flood. "Times change. Water tables move," Eleanor said calmly. "We can't risk our children's safety for the sake of sentimentalism." "What children?" I snarled. "The nearest kids live 3 blocks away." A whisper ran through the room. Some nodded with me. Others looked around, concern clouding their faces. Then Clara spoke up. "I've seen an increase in mosquitoes. Standing water leads to disease." Her words stung me like a betrayal. This was just the start. Her grandchildren used to feed ducks at that spring. This wasn't about flooding. It was a land grab. I'd overheard Eleanor whispering at a neighborhood barbecue, plotting with a developer friend, discussing unlocking the land's true value. "I want to see that survey," I demanded. "Who did it? When were they even here?" Eleanor's smile became rigid. "That's confidential, for the surveyor's protection." "That's not how property appraisals are done," I retorted. I phoned Mr. Larson, the retired lawyer who lived 2 doors away. Eleanor went pale. "This meeting isn't about procedure." 7 hands shot up. The motion passed in a matter of seconds. Outside in the parking lot, I caught Clara. "Why?" "Your grandkids love that spring." She glanced away, obviously uncomfortable. Eleanor was going to green-light my garage expansion, if I voted with her. My heart sank. That's how she was doing it, buying votes. That evening, lying awake, I heard the rumble of trucks at 2 a.m. Looking out the window, I saw shadowy figures near the spring with equipment. I took my flashlight and phone and stormed out in my pajamas. "This is private property," I yelled. They stood there. One of them was Derek, the HOA maintenance manager. "Just taking measurements," he told me. "Board approved." "At 2 in the morning?" I snapped. Then Eleanor appeared, clipboard in hand, practically radiating. "The HOA reserves the right to conduct 24-hour safety inspections," she said. "This isn't an inspection," I growled. "It's intimidation." She just smiled. "Go back to bed." But I didn't move. I stood there observing them until they departed. I knew they'd come back. The following morning, I was on the phone. 2 attorneys wouldn't touch an HOA case. The third one demanded $5,000 up front. So I went to the county records office, digging until I hit pay dirt. The so-called surveyor, Eleanor's cousin, a cousin whose license had been suspended for falsifying reports, but it only got worse. The Ridgeview Heights development, constructed on top of a centuries-old watershed. My spring, a safety valve for the whole underground network. Take it out and everything gets out of balance, possibly even sinkholes. I demanded another HOA meeting. Eleanor said no. No new evidence, she said. Fine, I made it public. I set up a website, posted everything. The history of the spring, maps of geology, the phony survey, all the dirty little secrets. Then I posted it on our neighborhood social sites. The reaction? Immediate. Comments streamed in. Neighbors recalled the spring, wondered at the sudden haste, questioned Eleanor's intentions. Some members of the board even texted me privately. They'd been bullied, threatened. Eleanor lashed back, sending cease and desist letters, alleging slander. But facts aren't slander, and I wasn't about to quit. Mrs. Ellison, a 60-year resident, Mrs. Ellison, changed the dynamics. She said, "That spring kept us alive during the '78 drought when the city pipes dried up. It's not water, it's lifeblood." More tales poured in, memories, gratitude. Then came the uncertainty, and then the threat. An anonymous voice message. "Take down that site or regret it." But I recognized that tone. Eleanor's venom hung in each syllable. At dawn I heard it. Industrial pumps, growling engines, shaking the ground. My land was under attack. Eleanor stood there, sunglasses covering her face, while Derek oversaw the workers. Long hoses plunged into the spring's edge. "Stop! You can't do this!" I shouted. She coolly waved a stack of papers. Article 7, Section 3. The HOA has absolute authority to render safety hazards null and void. Judge Ramsey initialed. That spring, crystal clear for generations, transformed into sludge before my eyes. Lily pads sagged. The ducks, disoriented. Scattered. I phoned 911. "Civil matter," they told me. "Animal control? We need 48 hours." Emily documented everything, hands shaking. "This is criminal," she mouthed. Derek charged. "Stop rolling." I intervened between them. "This is my property. You're trespassing." By noon, our haven was a pit. The giant willows slanted, parched and withering. Clara, meanwhile, planting roses close by, grumbled without glancing up. "Sorry about your water feature, but this'll improve property values." "That feature supplied the whole groundwater stratum," I said. She shrugged. Eleanor said city water's sufficient. That night, I met Ethan, my friend from college, now a hydrologist. He pored over the maps, cranked through rapid models. "This is devastating," he grumbled. "That fountain wasn't ornament. It relieved pressure underground. Without it, water will begin appearing in basements." He wasn't incorrect. Soil gauges peaked. Pressure increased. And then it started. At the next HOA meeting, Eleanor stood in my way of speaking. But nature did the talking. The Thompsons' basement gained 3 inches overnight. Insurance? Nope. Exposed groundwater intrusion. Then the Garcases, Parkers, even Clara, her lovely rose bed now a quagmire. I posted Ethan's reports. Within an hour, comments were pouring in. "My sump pump refuses to quit. There's a spring in the making beneath my kitchen. $50,000 in foundation repair. 3 houses sold within a week." Local news grabbed it. HOA's drainage mishap. Mother Nature strikes back. Eleanor pointed fingers in all directions, blaming weather, blaming the city, but not herself. Then Mr. Larson reappeared again. He dug deeper and found the true shocker. Eleanor's cousin, the bogus surveyor, had a drainage business. He received $2 million in contracts to fix the mess they'd made. I submitted an official complaint with the state. Investigators acted quickly. Subpoenas struck the HOA like a thunderclap. Eleanor stepped down. No fanfare, no apology. But the neighborhood wasn't finished with her. We filled the high school auditorium. Every seat filled. Every voice cried out. People waved ruined repair estimates like placards. And then Emily showed the tape. Weak but audible. Recorded in the darkness of that 2 a.m. raid. Eleanor muttering to Derek, "When the values collapse, my developer buddy's poised to vacuum up half the block." Gasps, outrage, awareness. The spring never posed the threat. The threat was believing that we could muffle the earth at no cost. And spring, it's returning, step by step. Nature never forgives. Pals will buy cheap, will make millions. That last recording cost Eleanor her fate. The people rioted, calling for her arrest. Board members resigned en masse. Police came in to investigate. Eleanor was cuffing, facing charges of fraud, conspiracy, and theft of HOA funds. Her cousin's drain company ceased operations. The developer pulled out. Their scheme fell apart in public disrepute. I testified at trial about the forged survey, the illicit 2 a.m. drain, the rigged meters. Clara, visibly disturbed, admitted to the bribes. Harold, treasurer of the HOA, spilled it all. More than $800,000 routed through bogus maintenance fees. Eleanor's defense? It was all for the community. But the jury saw the film, her accepting cash. Guilty. All counts. She was sentenced to 15 years. Her property? Seized and set aside for the repair. Engineers worked around the clock to rebuild the spring, but the damage was deep. The flooding persisted. Declared man-made, insurance wouldn't cover. Federal disaster funds and Eleanor's funds helped, but it wasn't sufficient. So we, neighbors, strangers, survivors, pitched in, cleaning debris, delivering sandwiches, mucking out basements together. Some sold their houses, defeated, others sued. Then something amazing. Excavation revealed ancient native water channels, long buried, flawlessly crafted to balance the land. We heard the past and built a future. With a mix of old knowledge and newfangled sustainability, the spring was reborn. Our small neighborhood became a global model. School field trips arrived, articles were published. Clara's garden bloomed, eco-friendly, self-watering. At the spring's grand reopening, hundreds of people came. The water glistened. Children cheered. Clara, the new HOA president, stood tall. She declared new bylaws, environmental impact studies, complete transparency, and community voting rights. Ridgeview Heights wasn't merely healing, it was flourishing. Eleanor's mansion? Now an environmental education center. Her emails on display as a warning exhibit. The Spring Festival became a tradition. Herbs and murals paved the way. I gave tours, sharing history, science, and the lesson we learned the hard way. Spring taught us, everything is connected. When we hurt the earth, we hurt ourselves. But when we respect the earth, justice and healing follow. Not all families came back. Some wounds remained. But we rebuilt more than houses. We rebuilt trust and a purpose. The spring became protected status. No HOA could ever come for it again. Clara and I sat on the water, fireflies twinkling. I nudged her. Still a muddy mess. She smiled. We thought nature was the enemy. I nodded. But it was the heart of this place all along. And now the spring isn't just a spring. It's proof that when people stand together against greed for truth, water and justice will always find their way.